Hello, fellow Americans. Welcome to Pride Month. Today we are going to be celebrating by making a Valentine Monster Idol. Yes, in case you didn't know, this is the second part of our two-part series for Pride Month, making both Spelden and Valentine into some customized monster idols. You can go ahead and find the link to Spelden's video in the description or click somewhere on the screen, maybe. Like usual, this doll is made in collaboration with Diva Chick Emma. You can check out all her socials down below. She did the design for this Valentine, and it's incredible. The outfit is literally insane. I love it so much. So, with that, I think we should get started. Hi everybody. Sorry if I look a little crazy right now. I just got out of the shower and I'm not doing my makeup for this. I just wanted to come here real quick and say that the face up I did for this Valentine doll initially is not very good in my opinion. I was just having like serious like art blindness this whole process of this face, and I had no idea why I didn't like it. I couldn't figure it out, but I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to our Patreon members for coming through and really helping me figure out what I needed to change for this face up to look how it ends up looking. I just couldn't figure it out, so I made a post because I know that we have some really great artists over there, and they came through and gave me some really honest and good critiques that helped me change what needed to be changed. And yeah, without them, this doll would not have ended up looking how it does. But I also just want to say I'm not gonna like delete the footage that I do have of how we get to where we get to, because even though I don't like it, the whole reason of me like posting in the first place initially was to document like my progression as an artist, because I started off knowing nothing about doll customizing and now here we are. So, and there's like still plenty of room for me to grow as an artist, and clearly with boy dolls, those are still not my forte, which is completely fine. Hopefully I can get there someday and be really happy with how all of my boy doll face-ups turn out. But yeah, I just wanted to say like this is a trust the process kind of doll, and I hope you're in for the ride and enjoy the video nonetheless, so thank you for watching. Starting things off with the base doll that we chose for today's project, we are using a Heath Burns head from G1 of Monster High on the Vampire Boy Create a Monster body. I know this is an odd combination, but it's an easier way to get around having to paint the entire body pink, so yeah. Just like how I had to remove the snakes from Deuce's head to make Spelden, I'm gonna have to remove the fiery plastic hair that Heath has to make our Valentine doll. I did this with no problem. There was like hardly any glue holding it on place. I can't say that for every Heath doll out there, but it was a lot easier. And again, the same thing I had to do for Spelden. I am holding a needle with my needle nose pliers and poking a bunch of holes into Heath's head. I also realized from the Bratz customizing community, something that would make this a lot easier is using just like a thumbtack, like a push pin. Don't know why I didn't do that, because I have push pins, but note to self. For this reroute, we're just using some black and red hair that I found left over in my stock box. I believe they're both shades of nylon, which you can find on many different shops on Etsy, so I didn't have them in a labeled bag this time. I don't know where they're from. Apologies for all the black paint all over my hands. I was working on painting a lot of the 3D printed resin shoes that we have available in our shop, which we still have some available. If you're interested, go check those out. A lot of them are for G1 Monster High dolls, and they are super, super cute. And here's how Valentine's reroute looks after sealing it in with some Fabri-Tac glue and setting it with a boil wash. Obviously, he still needs a haircut, which I will be giving him later after the face-up. But for the face-up, I'm starting off by removing all of the factory paint with 100% acetone. I think one of the best features of Heath's face mold that makes him really good for making a Valentine custom is that he already has these pointy ears, which can easily pass for vampire ears. And honestly, he has some pretty sharp features that are kind of giving gaunt vampire vibes. So I mixed together a pink shade that I thought would closely resemble the body and match it as much as I possibly could. I like to mix it to be at least like one shade lighter because the paint does dry a little bit darker, which you will see later. And then I just go in with a really damaged flat brush that I need to replace and water the acrylic paint down a little bit and fully paint over the face with like 3 to 4 layers. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but I also dusted on this glittery, shimmery highlighter because I wanted to give him that Edward moment. Then I went in to lay out the basic shape for his eyebrows with some chalk pastel and shaped that with a kneaded eraser. And then I used some red chalk pastel as a little bit of eyeshadow. It's really giving like My Chemical Romance missing member kind of thing. One thing here I did early on that I regret doing was adding too much chalk pastel to his lips. I wanted them to like kind of look like how some vampires do in movies after they like drink blood and their lips get like that red bloodshotty like stained look. But I was just doing too much, and it was just looked like he put on like lipstick and I made it way too pouty. And yeah, I didn't really like how it looked, but I changed it later. I also went in with a dark red acrylic paint to add more definition to the crease for his eyelid. That way it was just a lot easier to see with all the red eyeshadow he has on. And then I started adding like a really dark red acrylic paint onto his lips. This, I don't know, I was just going crazy. I wanted to see like I wanted it to look bloody, and it just it wasn't really getting there for me. I tried to add a lot of definition into it and make it look like he's got like creases in his lips and everything, because I wanted it to look stained and not like matte like how it does here. This looks like lipstick straight up. But I just kept going and trying, and it's okay if it doesn't turn out good. You can always like backtrack it and whatever. It's just a matter of the losing your progress kind of feeling. So I decided to move on from the lips for a little bit and start working on painting his eyes. First off, filling out the scleras with some white acrylic paint. And then I went right back into working on the lips some more, and I added his fangs, which these fangs were not turning out nice to me either. Normally I don't have too much of a problem with painting on fangs, but I wasn't liking this. They were looking more like snake fangs to me than vampire fangs, if that makes sense. They look a little too wide, and one looks way longer than the other, but again, I change it later. Something interesting about Heath's face mold is that his eye sculpting is really rounded. There's like some G1 Monster High dolls that have that rounded sculpting shape for the eyes, but I would say this is more comparable to like G1 Laguna's face mold. That might be a little bit of a stretch, but like as some of you may know, G1 Laguna's were like noticeably wall-eyed on a lot of the printing because of the way the eyes were sculpted. Not that there's anything wrong with it, it was just like made for a lot of wonky screenings and whatever. And you can go back to the beginning of this video. I think this Heath had some wall-eyed printing as well, but it made it a little tricky for me to get the eyes looking symmetrical when I was painting this doll. And the whole time I was like trying to figure it out when I was looking at him. I'm like, something seems off, and I don't know if I'm like painting it wrong. I like thought one eye was bigger than the other, one eye was looking a little bit too much to the right, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I was just looking at it way too much to the point where I couldn't figure out what was wrong with it, if that makes sense. Sometimes you have to like step away for like your art for a while and then come back to it, and I was doing that and I couldn't figure it out. So eventually I think I got to a place that I am happy with. But yeah, sometimes symmetry is just the worst. I don't know. Big compliments to people that are really good at painting anything symmetrical just naturally. That is such a talent. And sometimes I can get it and I'm very proud, but sometimes I don't, and that is still okay. Okay, I tried my best and I did my best. That's all I can say. To basically finish up this face up, I'm taking my dotting tool and adding the highlights in his eyes with some white acrylic paint. Like always, if you're looking for any of the tools I'm using for repaints in this video, I have a affiliate link with like my whole material list in the description. Emma also has one for any tools you might need for sewing doll clothes, so check that out if you want. And here's what I would consider like the first draft of Valentine's face. I'll show you in a second what I changed it to, thanks to the help of our lovely members on Patreon once again. I also did gloss these lips. Painting over gloss can sometimes be so annoying, but you can just do a spray of Mr. Super Clear if you need to paint over a glossed area, and that'll help add the toothy grit feeling back into the doll. Yeah, Valentine right here was giving me supermodel and not a grungy emo vampire, so seeing him with the long hair really solidified the fact that I needed to change something. So here's the final product of Valentine's face up. Sorry I did all of this adjustment stuff off camera. I was just starting to go a little crazy. But basically I did a bunch of minor adjustments to the eyes and fully did the lips over again and the fangs and glossed them and everything. So yeah, once again, huge shout out and thank you to all of our Patreon members that helped me out with seeing the mistakes. And yeah, moving on to the shoes. These are a 3D file from Ztudio. Thank you so much, Ztudio, for sculpting these. These are Valentine's like actual boots from the San Diego Comic-Con doll. So I went ahead and spray painted those black and then added over all of the little details in gold. I think they're normally silver, but all of the metal pieces on this Valentine doll are gold, so I wanted these to match. So with that, my work is pretty much done here for Valentine, so now I'm going to pass it over to Emma, and she's going to show you how she made this incredible outfit. Seriously, it's like one of my favorites.
Hey everyone, welcome to the second video of June, which is Pride Month, so happy Pride Month. Valentine already has a doll, so this will be a different type of doll. I wanted him to have a similar outfit but more elevated, so I'm going to be doing him in an OG fashion style. OG fashion is heavily influenced by the Victorian era and means prince in Japanese. A popular character that everyone might know and love is CL Phantom Hive. He is definitely an OG boy. I thought this look would look amazing on Valentine and really give him that like little something he was missing in his original doll. So here I am, I'm going to design the outfit, and here's my really bad SketchUp, and I'll have Morgan come and fix it for me because she is the artist and I'm the mind, the hive mind. Today I wanted to do something really special for you guys, so I'm going to be giving a tutorial on how to alternate a pattern piece. So for Valentine, I wanted him to have a bishop sleeve. So the first thing I'm going to do is trace my pattern onto a piece of paper, and I'm going to find the center point of the pattern. After that, I'm just going to draw a line straight up through the center. With that done, I'm going to find the center of the two lines between the center and the sides. With that done, you should have 3 lines in between your pattern piece. You can go ahead and cut that out, and then we are going to cut along the lines up to the top, but make sure you don't cut all the way. Now with that done, we can make our pattern as big or as small as I want it. The more you stretch it out, the more fabric is going to be used, and the bigger the sleeve will be, and the less you use, the smaller it'll be. Just with my eyes, I'm going to guess what I want, and I think I want it to be about this big, so I'm just going to tape it down with some masking tape. If you really wanted to get into drafting patterns, I would highly recommend looking up different types of sleeve types and learning the names and learning what you want. And Pinterest is your best friend. Pinterest has literally everything. If you want a pattern, I would just type in the type of pattern you want and then pattern at the end, and you will get a rough pattern so you have an idea of what you're working with, and usually you can put together a pretty solid pattern with that. For this pattern, I ended up finding this bishop sleeve pattern, so I'm going to be basically making that. I'm just kind of looking with my eye and guessing where it would go on this, and like that, this pattern is done, and you can test it out on some cotton that you have if you don't want to waste fabric, and with this you can basically make any pattern you want. Now moving on to the shirt, I'm going to be using Requiem Art's pattern, which you can find in the description below. If you'd like, you can get $5 off with the referral down there. I'm going to be sewing some darts onto this, and with those done, I added some ruffles down the middle off screen, which I just did on my own. Then we'll be adding the sleeves that we just patterned. Then taking some Fabri-Tac, I'm going to hem down the ends, and I'm going to ruffle them. You see this ruffle? We're going to follow this exactly. So when I take it in my sewing machine, we're just going to make sure it's like that. So there's a little bit of gather on the bottom, but the gather on the sleeve cuff is still straight all around. Morgan keeps telling me that this blouse looks like it came out of Interview with a Vampire. And I personally have never seen that movie, but Morgan is like on me about it, so we're gonna have to watch it soon. Now with both sleeves sewn on, this shirt is basically done, and it looks so fancy and rich and so Valentine. I think it looks amazing for him. We're going to add the collar, which is my least favorite part of making shirts with collars, is the collar. Now it is done, and I think this will look so amazing on him. I cannot wait to put it on. Next, moving on to the pants, I wanted him to have faux leather pants like his original Valentine doll has, and a faux leather corset. And Valentine would look so snatched in a corset, so you know I had to give it to him. For the corset, all I had were these silver grommets, so I had to make it work, but they're very not noticeable in the back. So I'm sorry you have a little bit of silver on you, Valentine. Please don't notice that. Then Valentine has embroidered roses all over his original doll. I wanted to go get him embroidered, but I found this fabric in my fabric bin and thought it would be a lot easier, and I think it turned out great. We just painted over the flowers with some Posca pens in gold and red, and Morgan added a few details of a darker red. Now onto his coat. I completely drafted this pattern from hand, so this pattern will be available on the Patreon. If you like the coat, I will show you how to make it on there. But this coat was inspired by this coat I saw, and I thought this coat would look so good on Valentine, but it was missing something, so I wanted to add some crosses to the front of it. Oh, it's gonna look amazing. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the back together, and then I'm going to sew the fronts to the back. But you want to leave a little notch open there for the arms to go through the sleeves, because this is a sleeveless jacket. Here you can see what I'm talking about. See how there's these little holes open, and then I just sewed the remaining seam lines against the fabric. So we have this nice looking seam on the inside and the outside. Then for the top pieces, I'm going to take some Fabri-Tac and hem them. Now all we have to do is sew this on top of the jacket, and the base of the jacket is done. Now we get to do the fun part. Here are all the tiny crosses I bought. These are super tiny, and they are perfect for this jacket. I'm going to hand sew each one of these on individually onto the jacket. I just kind of placed them sporadically, and this is what I ended up with, and then I added some buttons to the front, and it looks so good. And there's a tiny little closure in the front there that is also on the blouse that actually closes, so that's pretty cool. So you can take this jacket on and off. And then on the back I added these gold chains, some more buttons, and 2 crosses to really complete the look. Now we can take all this off our mannequin and assemble it onto Valentine. One of my favorite parts is dressing up the dolls after the outfit is fully complete, because it's just so fun to see it come to life, and it's like, I made this, you know? Like, this didn't exist before my hands touched it. It's so amazing to me to see how far Morgan and I have both come along, because at first, neither of us, I'm not speaking for Morgan but me, were amazing at this. It just took a lot of time and a lot of practice, and if you guys are struggling, just don't give up and keep working on it and keep practicing, and you will get better. And I got a lot of questions asking what is the best way to like improve on what you're doing, what are some tips, and the biggest tip I have is just to keep doing it and learning from your mistakes and keep trying, and you will get pretty good. I'm so happy with how this outfit turned out, and he is complete.
While this project definitely had a couple challenges for me, I do still really love the outcome of it, and once again, I think the outfit Emma made for this doll is immaculate. Very, very good. I love it. I love the fashion style, and I think this was a really fun project. If you are interested in possibly purchasing Valentine or Spellden, they will be available on our shop in the next coming days, so keep an eye out for any updates for that, and the shop link is in the description.
This doll was super fun to make. I had such a fun time making it, and I love accessorizing with all those little accessories. And our next dolls will also have a bunch of little accessories, so I am excited for that. For shoes, we will not be having a shoe drop at the end of this month, but in the beginning of next month we will be having one. While we're not releasing any new shoes, there are still current shoes in our shop right now. If you're interested in going to look at those, we still have tons of pairs of different styles. I'm so happy that we were able to bring Valentine and Spellden to life in their own unique ways, and I'm so happy. I wish there was an official doll for Spellden, but this is all we got, so I hope you enjoyed both of them.
Like always, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to our Patreon members. Thank you so much to Emmy Lisa's, Christian, Sylvic Studios, Emma, Vinyl Bunny, Kate, Amanita Truffle, Daisy, Maisie, Anson, Miss Chips, Marissa, Keisha, Rue, Nick, Nori, Crystal Rose, Armon, Dark Lovely 87, and Jello. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you all have a happy Pride Month and stay safe, and hopefully we will see you in the next video. Bye!